The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. I want to say to you, first of all, as we get started this evening with our January 2017 Psychic Hour, Happy New Year to everyone. It is just amazing to see everyone back here. So much has happened. Isn't that amazing? In just this last couple of months, as we left 2016 behind and moved into 2017, it really truly feels like a new chapter in life is beginning. So, what a beautiful time for us all to get together and do Sandy's Psychic Hour. So, I'm so grateful to see everybody here this evening. We're going to have so much fun bringing in the new year together. So, welcome everyone. Give yourselves a hand for finding some time on this Sunday night to join me. I would like to begin the session by just telling you a little bit of what's coming up in this next month as far as my work is concerned. So if you want to tune in on some other things, you'll be able to do that. First of all, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, please do that, because if you sign up for the newsletter, you're always going to know when the next Psychic Hour is, and also when anything else I'm doing online or off is going to be scheduled. So that newsletter is free. And when you sign up for it, you get a free downloadable healing meditation, which is really a special thing to have in your MP3 arsenal of things to play when you're feeling bad and want that lift and want to get over some of those holiday contagious things that go around. Also, make a note, my next Psychic Hour, the next one, next month in February, is going to be on February 5th. And so if you want to get in there and sign up for that, please do. These webinars that I do here on GoToWebinar, which is just a fabulous platform, I really love it, but they only hold 100 people. And so once we get up to around 100, you can register, but you're not going to be able to get in. So always when you know it's coming up, register for it in advance, make sure your name is in there, and show up 5 or 10 minutes early to make sure that you are one of the people who gets in. It is, as always, great to see everyone. Please also add to your calendar, if you haven't thought of it already or maybe haven't heard of it, my Kabbalah Pathworking class. It's going to begin this Wednesday, so it's only a couple of days from now. A lot of you think that, oh, well, Kabbalah is Judaism. Folks, I am not Jewish. Actually, I'm not really any Orthodox religion at all. I kind of follow all religions and make my own as I go along. So I want you to know that I'm not affiliated with any religion in particular. I think all of them are doing great stuff. The Kabbalah is not a religious class. The Kabbalah Pathworking class is learning a system and actually working through and experiencing a system, which is a roadmap to enlightenment. So every week we get together, we listen online to a guided meditation that takes us through a visual experience that stimulates internal growth. Folks, the Kabbalah Pathworking is something I developed many years back with a group of really talented people, and today I'm still doing it every so often online. This is the first time I've done it in 2 years. So if your own spiritual journey is important to you, if you've been looking for a path that's going to help you to find your true place in life and to work through whatever issues are in your way to be able to attain your dreams, your desires, the things that you really want in life for yourself and your loved ones. Maybe you can't take the psychic development classes with me, or maybe you've studied a lot of different things, but nothing has really quite clicked. Well, Kabbalah Pathworking has been developed so that anyone from any walk of life, any race, creed, religion, can take them, and if you follow the pathworking experience during the week, meet with me on Wednesday nights. For the next 6 months, the class is a long developmental class. You will transform. Your world will transform. You will become the person you truly want to be. It is a transformative experience unlike anything else available anywhere. So if that interests you, please join me on Wednesday. Find out about it. You can read about it on my website, and that's all I'm going to say about that this evening. But it does begin this Wednesday night. So if it interests you at all, go look it up, read about it, register for it, and again, as with most of my classes, attendance is somewhat limited, so try and get in there quickly. Now, I also want to tell you, my last time that I'm teaching my Psychic Development Series live is going to be in Tampa this winter and spring. And I do have a few openings left in that class. It's almost full. If you want to study with me live in person in a 4-day immersion, put January, I can't remember the dates, it's the 28th through the 30th or something like that. It's 4 days, the last 4 days at the end of the month are my Psychic Development Level 1, which is the fundamentals of everything you would ever do in the psychic field, whether you want to be a professional or whether you just want to hone your natural abilities, or whether you even want to just learn to control it so you're no longer afraid of it. That's level 1. Level 2 is learning about energy and learning about auras and learning about your empathy. So if this interests you, again, you can find out about that on my website, www.sandyanastasi.com, and it's not too late to sign up. I think that's about it. Oh, one other thing I want to mention. A lot of you love these psychic readings, these mini readings I do on the Psychic Hour, which kind of gives you a little flavor of how I work. And I'll always be doing them, and they're always free, and I love doing it, so I'm so grateful to see you here. But if you want to go deeper with me, I do private readings. I always forget to mention that. Okay, so if you want to get a reading with me, I am available. And my reading special, I do reading specials each month that are a little bit lower price, so people who want to just get their feet wet and find out what it's all about can do that. My reading special this month is really about getting a handle on your goals for this year. What do you want to change? Where are your greatest blocks going to come from in this year? How are you going to work on them and work through them? And we're going to get that information by channeling information from my guides and your guides, and using astrology, which you can see I use, and tarot and numerology and a host of other psychic tools. It's pretty amazing. So if you want to give that a shot, you again can go to my website or call, and the phone number to call would be 941-743-0800, and that'll give you to my assistant Lisa, and she'll be able to schedule you. So you can schedule directly on my website, www.sandyanastasi.com, or you can schedule with Lisa. That's all my announcements, I promise. No more announcements. We're going to get straight to you. Here are the rules for the Psychic Hour. They haven't changed since last year, so those of you who've been with me for a while are going to have no trouble following along. We're going to have Lisa, who is running the chat room and also calling on people, So if you come in and you have a question that you'd like to ask, raise your hand. And Lisa will try and focus on people that either haven't been able to ask a question before or are new to the Psychic Hour, so that we have a little different flavor each time we meet. So, you're more likely to get called on if you're new. And also, if you're shy and you're afraid to raise your hand, you can write your question into the where it says questions on the bottom. That's our question area. Write your questions in there, and Lisa will be in there to either answer them directly, a lot of them she can handle, or if she sees a lot of people asking the same question, or she sees an unusual question, she'll call on that person and she'll read the question for you. So you don't have to come on and voice it if you're a little bit shy. You can still get it in that way. One other way you can ask your one question, this is a service I do for you folks, following the session, if you have not been called on and you have this one raging question inside, just one, please go ahead and email. You'll see the email address right here on GoToMeeting. Email that email address you see there, or email Lisa, sainc@aol.com, and put that one question in. And sometime between now and the next Psychic Hour, either Lisa or I will make every attempt to get back to you and answer that question. Now, when you get called on, here's what you do. I would like your name, I'd like to know where you're from because we do get people from all over the world, so it's really fun to find out where everyone is from. It kind of makes us more of a close knit community here. So we'd like your name and where you're from, and also your birthday or your sun sign. If you know your sun sign, just give me that. And then I'd like to know what you are most grateful for right now, at this moment in your life, right now. So everybody should be thinking about that right now. What are you most grateful for? And then you get to ask your question. I have this chart here, which is called a horary chart. I'm pointing to it with my cursor. To an astrologer, and what this says is what's going on for every single person on this call this evening. So all of your questions are already answered right in this chart. Isn't that amazing? So when you tell me your sun sign, I'm going to be able to look at this chart and know immediately a whole lot about what's going on for you. I'm also working with tarot cards. Tarot cards. And I'm also working with numerology. So, and in addition, of course, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always channeling my guides. So you're always getting that information as well. Okay, without any further ado, let's jump in. Lisa, who's our first caller?
I had to find my own unmute button. Alrighty, the first victim for the night is going to be Linda. Linda, you are unmuted.
Hello? Linda, are you there? I think Linda might be trying to find a way to make her mic work.
Can you hear me?
I can't.
Hello?
Isn't this
Hello.
a wonderful thing?
Good to be here. Thank you. My name is Linda. I am from Northwest Indiana. My birthday is 1/18/77. 10 days away.
So, and what are you most grateful for right now? So you're a Capricorn.
Oh,
You have a birthday coming up. Happy birthday, a little early, but happy birthday.
thank you. I'm most grateful for this minute. My little family, my daughter, my husband, here with me now.
Thank you so
Extremely
much.
grateful for it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's amazing. It shouldn't amaze me. It pleases me. Amazing is the wrong word. It really pleases me when so many people, when I ask them, what are you most grateful for in your life right now? And I would say, if I took a poll, the most everyone who comes on, I'd say 1 out of every 4 or 5 people will say my family. And to me, that's extra special because, there are so many people out there who either don't have families or don't have supportive families or. So when I get that, I'm so grateful for my family. It warms my heart. So thank you for sharing that. It's a really special thing for all of us online to hear. Thanks. And right here, just for your information, Linda, as a Capricorn, your sun, there it is, Pluto, I'm pointing with my cursor, and part of fortune, which is a really good thing, are all right here in the house of children. Okay, so it really is a surprise that you came on and said, hey, I'm most happy for my family. Almost all of the people on the call right now who are Capricorns can be feeling that way. And also the other cardinal signs, the Aries, the Cancers, the Libras, are also really right now feeling that closeness to their family, to their friends, and happy to have them around them. So that kind of is fitting for so many of us right now. You in particular have got a lot of romance and a lot of creativity going on in your life. You have got some real major career plans that either you or your husband are kind of launching right now that may have to do with something that has to do with kids or a creative venture that one or the other of you are doing. I also would love to see you utilize your creativity, which is powerful right now, very powerful, in your career. So if you're not in a creative career already, think about how you can bring some creative energy into what you're doing. It's going to make you so much happier and so much more fulfilled in what you're doing. If you and your husband are thinking about developing your own business right now, perfect. Kudos to you. Good timing. So what is your question?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Our question is this year, 2017, going to be the year that we sell our inherited house and start fresh in another town.
Well, it can be. Oh, don't you hate when somebody says that? Linda, I'm going to show you the cards I pulled. This is going to help all of our people on here who want to learn the tarot cards. But you see, this is the first card I pulled. This is the Queen of Swords. Linda, that's you. And, you know, you're kind of the commander at the head of the boat here in your family, and you're saying, well, this is what we should do, and this is the direction we should take. And this is a really good thing for us to do, guys. Let's get on target with this. And the very next card I pulled is the Devil. And in the tarot cards, the devil is all those things that bind you, that tie you down, that hold you down. And you apparently are really seeing this inherited house as, you know, kind of a combination of a money pit and a real anchor that, you know, everybody expects you, you know, to hold on to it and to make it work for mom and dad who aren't there anymore, okay? Or at least whoever owns the house. So the thing is, here you are, you're doing it for everybody else, and you're tired of doing it for everybody else so that they don't have to feel guilty. And you're ready to move on, but you've got to figure out how to do it without stepping on everybody's toes, okay? And that, my friend, is the reason why you're still there, okay? And the longer you're there, the deeper the money pit gets. And right here, this is your husband, okay? Knight of Wands, okay? Pull 3 cards. And the Knight of Wands is, you know, he kind of relates to you, you know, as a romantic partner, but he also relates to you a little bit as, you know, Queen Mom, you know, the one who's really going to make the final decision. So, you know, you, guess what? You're wanting somebody else to make this decision for you and to make it happen so you can go along with it and say, well, you know, we did what we really had to do, and then you don't have to feel like you're bearing the responsibility and everybody's going to get mad at you. And nobody's going to move forward, Linda, until you give them permission to do it.
That's so true.
So
Wow.
throw that question right back at you. Is this
Yes.
going to be, is 2017 the year that you are going to move out of the inherited family house and move to another town and really make it happen?
Yes, it is. It is. I'm seeing it. We're doing it.
Yeah,
It's done.
and I want to point something else out, Linda. This is important for everybody here on the call. Did you see what happened when my guides actually did that? My guides took Linda's question and just, you know, turned it around and made her look at it from a different point of view. And what she realizes is that, you know, there's nothing keeping her in that house but herself. Okay. So all of the other Capricorns on the call in particular, but certainly also all of the other people who are cardinal signs, or if you know your chart, cardinal ascendants or cardinal moons, same thing, okay, which would be the Aries, the Libras, the Cancers. Guess what? If there's something that you feel is blocking you, take another look at it. Because what you're going to find right now, at this time in your life, the only thing in your way is yourself. Okay? Linda, thank you so much for voicing that question and letting my guides point that out. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye. And Lisa, who is next?
All right, your second victim for the night is Nancy. Nancy, you are.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi.
Nice to be with you. Although, you know, when Lisa keeps calling everybody victims, you know, I don't know if I really like that so much.
I'll take it. Okay, my name is Nancy. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I am an Aquarius. I am so thankful for my family, but also the internet, because it led me to you, and I have some big questions. Well, one big question. Do you want me to ask it now?
Go for it. Yep.
Okay. I've been diagnosed with bipolar, anxiety, OCD, and a number of things by this point. And I'm taking medication for them, and I also take medication to sleep. But I really want to work on opening up my psychic abilities in the coming year while I'm going to school. But I'm afraid that I'm on medication and it won't work.
Okay. First of all, there are a lot of things I want to say about this because it certainly isn't the first time that I've had somebody with your issues come and speak with me. First thing I want to point out, as soon as, Nancy, could you mute your mic for the moment?
Oh, yes, sorry, my cat's going crazy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. You'll notice that as soon as Nancy started speaking, we suddenly got a whole lot of static on the line. Okay? Now, what that static immediately tells me, there's different kinds of static. You kind of learn to hear it. People who have psychic kinetic mediumship, a kinetic ability, will often affect the airwaves, and when they're around lights, they might flash, or when they're around electronics, you might get extra static. And when I read people who have that real strong emotionalism, as soon as they get emotional about something, we get static on the line. And that just started to happen with Nancy. I wanted to point that out so you can see really how intense what's going on for Nancy is. Okay? So Nancy, you're an interesting person because as an Aquarian, you are supposed to be a person who is a little emotionally distant and observant and always can make decisions unemotionally, and yet you are an intensely emotional woman. And it may very well be that this real strong emotion that you have, coupled with the fact that you try to cap it and do everything in this intellectual, super strong way, maybe the conflict in there is producing part of the issues that are making you need to have some of the drugs that you need to sleep or to be calm as you go through your classes, etc., etc. Now, that said, I want you to understand that all that's resolvable. The first thing that I always tell students who come to me for classes or study with any psychic, or even if they study on their own, the very first thing I say is that, first of all, if you are on drugs that are prescribed by a physician, you should stay on them. And as you're going through your classes or your studies, keep the physician monitoring them. Because you may very well find that as you learn things like meditation and proper breathing, and as your brain starts to understand how all these psychic things work, it becomes more comfortable with them, you may find that you're able to cut that medication down or even cut it out entirely. That is possible. But never just do that on your own. Do that with the constant monitoring of the physician so that you don't cause your body any stress or traumatize it in any way. Okay? So the first question, would you be able to study under the influence of those drugs? What's interesting is that, guess what? Here's the problem with all drugs, and it's not just tranquilizing type of drugs, all drugs. If you take them for a long time, your body develops kind of an immunity to them. So you're able to do, when you first were on these things, you probably weren't thinking straight. Now you're thinking fine. As your body acclimates, you're able to do all the things psychically that you would want to do. Initially, it's going to shut them down and make it more difficult. But certainly if you're used to them, you're going to be able to do it through them with no difficulty. So is it going to stop you from being able to do your psychic work and to do your practice? No. But the effect that you will have is that you probably will gradually not need them. Let me give you an example. One of the people who teaches my system up in Atlanta, Georgia, whose name is Carl Woodall, will talk to people clearly, freely about his own experience. Matter of fact, it's on his website. And when he first came to me to learn psychic development, it wasn't to be a teacher. It was because he was having all kinds of psychic experiences that scared the devil out of him. And he was doing everything from hallucinating to seeing people walking around for real, to hearing the voices in his head. And he was in panic mode all the time. So he was on a whole lot of medication. He was on 3 or 4 different types of tranquilizing drugs. He was on sleep medication. He was barely functional. And his friends talked him into coming to my classes. When he first came down from Georgia to where I was teaching in Port Charlotte, the poor guy had to pull off to the side of the road. He was getting sick in the car on his way down. He was so frightened of taking those classes. But when he actually got into my first level class, the foundational class, level 1, like I'm teaching in January, by the time we were to the end of that class, I only taught that in a 2-day class at that point, at that time. By the time we were at the end of that class, he was calm, he was relaxed, he was able to do the things that he wanted to do. He didn't need to just turn it off, which is the reason he came to the classes. Sandy, please tell me how to turn it off. What he had learned is how to control it, so he could turn it on and off. Well, needless to say, he is no longer on drugs. He's no longer on any kind of either street drugs or pharmaceuticals drugs. He's able to control his psychic ability. He's a fabulous medium, and he is now a teacher who's certified to teach the Anastasi system. He's been teaching it now for about 8 or 9 years. So, Nancy, I think that answered your question. Go ahead and unmute. Did I answer it, or do you need more information?
No, that was so perfect. I think sometimes I think that's what's going on while I'm all over the place is I just absorb everybody else's stuff and I just don't know how to control it and take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm such a people person, it causes a problem.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to encourage you to, continue with your position, continue with what you've got with him until he decides you really don't need it. Look at the balance, but do take the classes, do study, because as you learn how to turn it on and off and control it, get comfortable with it, you are going to find that you're in so much better control of your life. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I always laugh to myself because before I do see clients during the day or do a psychic hour like this, I often have experiences that mirror what's going to be on the call that evening or that day with my clients. And one of the things that happened today is I was talking to a friend who is a psychologist, all about, isn't it a shame that, so in the distant past, this is gradually changing now, but isn't it a shame that psychology as a field has really turned more towards the straight scientific and has veered away from accepting anything psychic, because really they want reputability, and so many things that are in the psychic world make people think woo-woo, that's just, stupid stuff, that's not real. So psychology has steered away from it, and I've always wished that psychologists had one whole semester in college where they had to study psychic things, because so many people who are on drugs to control anything from anxiety to sleep disorders to split personalities to hearing voices, so many of those people are really having psychic experiences. And, drug therapy can shut it off, but it can't teach them how to control it, deal with it, understand it, and actually utilize it as a benefit instead of a problem. So more power to you, Nancy, for asking that question. Okay? Thank you. And who's our next caller, Lisa? That was a great question.
Okay, the next person I'm going to pick on tonight is going to be Linda, if I can find her. Linda, you are unmuted.
Hi, Sandy. Pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
I was wanting, let's see, I'm in Indiana, northern Indiana, and you need the year for my birthday as well?
No, just what sign you are.
Oh, I'm Cancer on the cusp.
Okay.
Just made it. And I'm grateful for my husband, and 45 years I've been with him, so.
Oh, my. Yeah.
And I'm asking the question of if you sense any abilities around me, or and if so, what I should do with those, if you have any advice on that. And also I'm asking about loss of an only child. So if you have advice for people on grief and that sort of thing, please. And thank you.
Well, the first thing that I've got a lot of information for you here. Thanks, first of all, for telling us you were married for 45 years. That's just amazing. I'm pleased beyond words. In these days, it's rare to find somebody who makes it that long. And you and your husband both deserve a really big, round of applause for that one. Okay. I hope
Thank you.
50. And beyond. In our world, everybody's living so much longer. Maybe you'll hit 75. I live down in Florida, And we actually have some people who hit that.
Wow.
The land of the old down here. Okay. Um, Now, as far as your psychic abilities, when you said, do I sense any around you? I want to throw that right back at you and say, of course I sense them around you because you know you're psychic. You've had so many experiences, okay? Um, so I think what you really want is confirmation that, you know, you're not a nut, that these things that you think are really are. And the answer is absolutely they are. You get precognition about things all the time. You get incredibly strong feelings about who you can trust, who you can't trust. If you need to be in a place, you literally feel pulled like a vacuum cleaner, drawing you into a place if you need to go there. And if somebody's not good for you, you just get covered with little tiny prickles all over your body. So here you are, you're asking me, am I psychic? Well, what do you think? Okay. So the answer, of course, is yes, you are. Now, I think when you said, do I have any advice about the loss of an only child? You know, I think that back when you lost that child, you did shut something down within yourself. And so your question, do I sense psychic ability around you, also goes back to that. Like, Sandy, have I shut it down? And if I did, is it reopenable? And the answer is that you never really shut it down. What you did is in your grief, you contracted. And when you contract emotionally, you also contract that channel above your head, which connects you to your source. Okay? We all bring a tremendous amount of energy down to the crown of our head. It's one of those life centers that brings energy for literally life force energy into us. It goes down through the head and straight into the heart and explodes through the body. And that's one of the, when that happens, we just feel so good because we're bursting with life force energy. And when you lost your child, you cringed, you see? And in cringing, you strangleholded that input. Now, that didn't stop your psychic ability. Obviously, you still get all those things that I mentioned, but you were getting information on a continual basis from your guides. You were used to getting that for many years. And when you lost your child, that stopped. So that's why you think, has that shut off? I've got to tell you, it has, you know, your guides have never stopped talking to you. Your higher self has never stopped talking to you. But you have contracted and stopped listening. Okay? So all you really need to do is to relax and start listening again, and it's right there. That's not really all that hard to do. Once you know, that's all you have to do. Now, as far as your child is concerned, I've got to tell you this. You lost your child, and your child became one of your guides. And that's one of the reasons why you put that stranglehold, because every time you felt that kid near, and every time you felt you heard his voice, every time you felt that happening, you cringed and you shut it off. Well, would you let the kid be your guide, please? Okay. Quit shutting it off. Quit saying, oh, no, I think I hear him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Open up and listen in joy, and you're going to find how much there is still coming through from that person. And here's the other thing that's interesting. For me, when you say, do I do grief counseling? No, I don't. Okay, I believe that people who are going to be grief counselors really should have a lot of training in grief counseling, and that's their specialty. You see, that's my belief. So the place to get a grief counselor would be to, go to the funeral home or go to a church or go online and look up grief counseling groups, because these people are really trained in those 7 steps that we all go through. And folks, the one thing I can tell you, if you've ever lost somebody, psychologists tell us there are 7 steps in grieving. One of the last steps is anger. And, the longer you hold off letting yourself go through those steps, the longer you're going to be in deep grief. We all have to go through all those steps whenever we go through a serious loss. And certainly the loss of a child is one of the biggest losses anybody can have. We all expect to outlive our children by many years. So when we don't, and we can lose that child at any age, and it doesn't matter. We still have that tremendous sense of loss, okay? But, you can have that grief from other things. You can have a business that gets destroyed, or you can have a lover leave you, or you can have a family disown you, or you can lose a job that was important to you. Grief can come from so many sources. It's not only losing somebody because they pass. And in that place, grief counseling groups sometimes fall down. They think grief is only attached to the loss of somebody that we cared about. There are many forms of grief, and they can all use those grief counseling groups. So if you've been through a serious loss, folks, give yourself the right to go and get help for it, and get help working through those grief loss stages. And recognize there's nothing wrong with having those feelings. It's part of being human. We all have to learn to go through it. You know, what we're really learning to do is to release and let go. Now, personally, what helps me, really helps me, to deal with grief when I lose someone, and I have lost many people, both family members, friends, clients. I've lost many people who are very, very important to me. So I understand grief. Not the grief of loss of a child, but I do understand grief. And when I lose somebody who's important, in my heart and mind, I transform the relationship. Because you see, I know that I can still have a relationship with them in the spirit world because I know they haven't died. Esther Hicks says there's no such thing as death. You're alive here, and then you're alive there. I totally agree with her. Okay? Now, not everybody online can see them walking around as I do. When I'm in the right mindset, I can see them. Not everybody here can hear their voices or channel them telepathically as I do. But I can tell you, because I am that medium who can do those things, and I can tell you that we don't die. We transform, and we move to another plane of existence. And anybody can connect with their deceased loved one if they're paying attention to their feelings, if they're paying attention to things that are in the world that suddenly pop up. You know, if you said, if you pass, give me a sign, and your child loved birds, and you start to see feathers one day, or the favorite kind of a bird, you'll know that that kid is around. There's the signal. So learn to appreciate. Because they're on a higher plane than us, they can see us. Because we're on a lower plane from them, we can't see them. But we can learn to hear and recognize them. Okay? Did that help? I hope.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm grateful for that. I just am wanting to do the next step. You know, maybe I need to read a special book of yours. So that, you know, because they always say when you have the gifts or anything like that to meditate, meditate, meditate. But there's more on top of the meditation.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here's the thing about meditation. It all starts, all psychic development starts with meditation, okay? But what's interesting is that when you're meditating, you're not doing psychic things. As a matter of fact, meditating is stilling the mind. It's not getting psychic information at all. You don't want psychic things when you're meditating. Meditating is a way of learning to control your mind so that you're able to receive information when it comes in. So it's a place to start. I have, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to advertise. Okay, I've written 6 books in the psychic world. Okay, Psychic Development Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're all on Amazon.com. You can order them as Kindles. You can go to my website and order them as PDFs. You can order my MP3s, which are actually audio tapes, but you know, you can even get CDs of all of my classes, or MP3s, downloadable audios, or MP4s. All of my classes on psychic development are available on video. And I think what would help you a whole lot in particular would be to study my Seeing Beyond the Veil audio, and particularly the first CD, the CDs, and the first one, which is all about dying and death, what happens when we die.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Very cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Very grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And like I said, thanks for giving me an opportunity to do a little advertising.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No problem.
And, you know, I would really love for you to be in Tampa, because this is, like I said, the last time I'm teaching live. I do teach online, Lisa, my assistant, has a great coaching program. So if you're studying the MP4s, you can get coaching with her. I'm certifying people as, you know, to that they've taken all this study with me at the end of the study period. You know, so it's basically 6 sessions of, not sessions, 6 courses, classes of study that you would go through. But if you want to develop your psychic abilities, I don't think that you're going to find any system of study anywhere on the planet that is going to get you where you want to go better than this one. In person in Tampa, or online with me next summer, or with Lisa as your coach, working through the MP4s, or you can go through my website. There are a lot of people who are now certified to teach my system. You'll find them in Atlanta, Ohio, Newfoundland. I'm thinking how many other places there are, but there are a lot of them teaching, all over Florida, certainly. So more and more all the time are becoming certified to teach it. So find somebody who's teaching it. West Virginia, okay? Find someone, okay?
That's wonderful. And if I can make it to Tampa, I would love nothing better than to meet you one-on-one there. So, yeah, we'll see what the universe can.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I really enjoy you.
And likewise, thank you for asking your great questions. And you know, you're going to work through it. You will.
Thank you so much.
And one other thing I want to add, always remember, some of the most difficult, horrible things that we go through in life, if we handle them the right way, can be turned around to become our greatest assets and our greatest point of transformation. So it's really, really the how you deal with things in life, not so much the what you're dealing with. Okay?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Lisa, who is our next victim, as you put it?
I'm trying to refrain from using that comment, although it is cute. All right, I'm going to go down here to Roger, and I think Roger and his wife are both on the call. Roger, you're unmuted.
Hello, Roger.
Hi there. Actually, Cindy's name was first on that list. But that's okay. Husband and wife team here.
Okay, I've got you both.
My name's Cynthia, and this is my husband Roger. We're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a Roger.
He's a solstice baby. He was born December 23rd, so he just had a birthday.
Okay, so looking at my cursor down here, you are right over here in the 3rd house. So what's on your mind right now are sisters, brothers, friends, communication, getting a foundation education in something, getting really clear on things. You're really concerned about clarity. And Roger, you're over in here, and you're busy. You know, this is the 4th house. This is family. This is home. And in it, you've got Saturn and Mercury going on. So you're interested in all those things that your wife is too, the communication and getting things clear. Particularly a child of yours is of concern. But, you know, you're feeling a little bit burdened. You're feeling like responsibilities kind of got you down these days. And you would love, I don't know if you've got a home-based business, but you would love to do something that you could enjoy doing and spend more time at home and maybe involve the family with, okay? And that speaks for all the other Sages on the call as well. Big changes, Sages, this year, big changes. And it is time to talk about what's on your mind, okay? Okay, what are you guys most grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for Roger. We're actually new.
I had heart surgery in June, and I'm good to be alive.
Yay! Yay! Congratulations, both of you. So she's grateful for you, and you're grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful you're both here on the call and still with each other. That's great.
Nice.
It is nice.
I'm also curious about I'm really curious about weather. Now, I think we're in for some really big changes, but I've been expecting it for a long time. And I kind of get frustrated when it doesn't happen when I demand it happens.
Yeah, Roger, I couldn't be in fuller agreement with you. I think there are going to be, well, it is happening, okay? And I say, thank God, things to be grateful for. Thank God that the weather changes and the geographical changes that are happening on our world are happening as slowly as they are, because that's allowing our population to adjust to it, to relocate, to make the changes that are really going to allow us to pull through and transform as a race of beings as the planet itself goes through its shifts. There are going to be a lot of, I believe, I agree with you, I believe there are going to be a lot of climatic changes, geographical changes, earth changes, and thank God it's happening slowly, okay? Mm-hmm. But I'm sure you can agree with me, and we could go on about this at great length, but, I don't recall earthquakes due to fracking when I was a young girl. There are a whole lot of them. I don't recall so many tidal waves and earthquakes happening under the water as I did when I was a young girl. They're getting more of them. I certainly don't recall all the fires and floods at different times of the year that have taken over half of the world, not just our country. So there's a lot going on, and God, it's happening as slowly as it is, because it's speeded up a whole lot from when we were kids. Are you remembering as I'm talking? Okay. Yeah. I'm not doing this in a scientific that way. I'm just doing this in a I remember way. I had the pleasure many, many years ago. I had a wonderful, wonderful psychic, world-renowned psychic in one of my classes. And what's interesting is she decided to become a medium. And I always wondered why she went into being a medium, because she was one of those rare people who was able to see earth changes, to actually see them. And when I did reading for her, reading her was like watching a motion picture. I got to see mountains move while I was reading her. It was really kind of interesting. The things I saw in the middle of her reading were things like most of Japan disappearing, okay? And what have we got now? But that's beginning to happen because of the issues with the atomic plants and the fissures under the earth over by Japan, et cetera, But I was in my early 20s at the time. That was more than 40 years ago. And I was wondering why it wasn't happening, okay? And now we're just beginning to see the very beginnings of these things, okay? So bear in mind that just because you get a feeling doesn't mean that that feeling has to happen tomorrow. When I first did psychic readings, my readings went out 15 and 20 years. And people thought I was a nut. And then 15 years later, they were looking me up because it was all happening to them. I had to learn to pull that stuff in, you see, to make the time period shorter so that people could actually recognize it. I think that's what's happening. It's not that you're incorrect in what your feelings and your expectations are. It's that it's further out. You don't have the right timeline, okay? And thank God. Isn't it great you don't? Okay. And I'm hoping that you're going to see a lot of really positive things for us too, because it's not just negative things that are going on in our world. There are lots and lots of good things happening too, and we have the opportunity to transform. I've heard people say, and I fully agree with it, that all the predictions about California falling into the sea and the great earthquake pull it down, and other people have come along and said, but there has been so much positive, good energy sent into that area that it's transformed that prediction no longer holds. I agree. I do agree. It's amazing what we can do with our energy when we project it. Okay?
It is amazing, isn't it?
So what is your, and again, thanks for giving me a chance to talk about that and give you some of my points of view, because I love to share those things. What is that is your major question?
Well, I have a question. And it's about attachment. And Roger and I were discussing attachments today, psychic attachments, whether it's from an entity, an ancestor, or past life. And I was wondering if there's a method that you use or that you can share about removing these attachments, because I feel like there's an attachment that is blocking my ability to attain a goal. And I'm going to let you speak to that if you can.
Well, you're thinking that it's an attachment to your mother who was limiting you. Okay. But my guides, that's not really the problem. Okay. So we have a couple of questions there. First thing that I want to say is that relative to we human beings, when we are unable, just in general, look at my detachments, when we are unable to attain something, or when we keep setting roadblocks in our own, in our own roadway, just as we talked about with the first caller, um, more often than not, it's our early childhood programming, stuff that we don't even realize that we absorbed when we were a kid. Were mom and dad constantly saying save for a rainy day, or rich people aren't nice people, or making comments about, oh yeah, well, you know how they got that. There were so many little subtle things that we have absorbed in our childhood, and for most of us, those are the things which are our roadblocks. And they are really well worth working with a hypnotherapist or a psychologist or studying some of the self-help stuff that's available online. There's a tremendous amount of material available on that. Mind Matters is a place you can go and study that. Also, oh God, there's so many. My brain is thinking so fast, I'm not able to really encompass them, but Mind Valley has a lot of those programs you might want to look up. The thing is that you do some of these self-hypnosis kind of programs, and you can little by little release all those blocks, and you're going to be amazed at how many of them you have. We just sit, especially with the advent of television, we sit there and we suck up everything we see. So my guides are saying your blocks are coming from that experience, mostly early childhood programming, things coming from the family. And a lot of that indeed could have come from your mother or a grandmother, a female influence around you. But when you're asking about the whole issue of attachment, when I ask my guides, do you have an attachment around you? They're saying, yes, you do. But it's not the one that you think it is. Okay? So you're thinking that this block you have is due to this attachment, and they're saying, no, that's your programming. You can deal with that yourself. The attachment you have is actually, it is to a female, but it's an attachment that has to do with a lot of responsibility. Somebody that, and I don't feel it's a mother, not unless your mother was very elderly when she passed. This is an elderly woman. But
she was 91 when she passed.
Okay, then it could have been her. But the attachment really is while she was still alive, you had such an intense sense of responsibility for her, okay? So I don't know if she had dementia or if she lived in your home, but it's like, you had to be there. You had to do. And what you did is you developed almost like she was your child, okay? So when she crossed over, you still had that feeling of, I got to take care of her, but you don't. You got it? You don't.
Okay.
And when I asked, is she attached to you? No, she's not. When she died, it was like, oh, great, I don't have to be a kid anymore. I'm gone. Wonderful. And you're the one holding on to the balloon. Okay. But, and, when you ask, is there a way that, I can get rid of attachments in my psychic development level 6? That psychic development class is about healing through mediumship. And it's healing both the person who's passed in spirit, and it's healing the person who's alive. So we can use mediumship for healing. And if you want to learn how to do that, I would suggest you take the entire series, because you really have to get the whole foundation before you're able to do it on that level. If you are already a psychic medium, then just go and buy the book and work with it. But if you don't have that experience, then start from the beginning and work all the way through. Okay?
Yeah. A little experience. I'll start with the book.
Yeah, there's a book. Matter of fact, I wrote the book quite some time ago, and I've been working with it with my classes for a long time, but I've only been, giving it to the people in my classes for the last 8 or 9 years. Now it's available as a Kindle on Amazon. And I'm hoping in the next year or so, there'll be a soft cover out too. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And Lisa, I think we have time for maybe two more.
Well, if we talk fast. All right, I'm going to go up here and unmute Diana and see if she can hear you. Diana, you're unmuted. Maybe.
Diana might be muted on her own side. I'm not hearing you, Diana. I'm still not hearing you. I know she's there. I can feel her trying to figure out how to get herself to talk.
Yeah, I think she's on the phone, and I'm just not sure it's going to work tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see if we can pick somebody else, and in the meantime, maybe Diana will get it worked out.
Alrighty, the next person I'm going to try is Alice. Alice, you're unmuted. Oh my, there's two Alices. Let me try the other one.
Hello, Alice.
Alice, are you there?
Hello. We seem to not be having luck right now. There's got to be a reason for that. Oh, there you are, Alice.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you got your phone to work. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So, what's your sun's sign, and where are you from?
I am from Colorado. My sun sign is a Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I am wondering, I went on a really good interview on Thursday night. It seems like a dream job. I'm wondering if you see that coming through, or if I should keep looking.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I love this. I'm laughing to myself. Before you ask the question, okay, this is important. Before you asked, when you were just trying to figure out how to get the call to go through, you weren't even on here. But what I pulled up is a very strong friend involvement for you. You are needing to make a move, a change in your life that's going to lead you out of troubled waters into a more peaceful time period.
Oh.
A change in job, which is going to be a stepping stone to another job.
Oh, okay.
Very positive. Now, those three cards together were really positive and said, yeah, wow, you're getting this job and you're going to move when you get this job, right? You asked the question, and this card says, well, there are two opportunities, but, you know, it looks like there are other people and you're really not sure, and they're not sure whether you're suitable to it. And then the next one is, boy, there's a woman involved here that either doesn't like you or is not able to make up her mind, but there's a lot of insecurity with that. And here's I don't know what decision or choice to make. Again, we got this feeling of balancing too many things. Well, maybe now's not the right time to hire. Maybe I should wait on this. And then we have this unhappiness card, which says, I don't even know what I should be doing. And guess what? All those other cards didn't come up until we heard your voice and you came on.
Oh.
So, what that says is that you've got this negative insecurity thing going on, don't you?
Yes.
I think you got the job. But I think that if you let your negative insecurity stuff get, in the way, you're going to lose yourself the job. Please change it.
Okay. Wow.
I love that showed up that way. Because it's really cool. My guys were giving me all this great information, and then there you were, and it went, ooh. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it just goes to show you how you can influence things if you're not careful, So
okay, so I need to just maybe meditate and visualize being happy and working the job?
Yeah, exactly. Quit, oh my God, did they like me? Am I going to get the job? Quit that. Say, that would be a really good job for me. I think I could... if that job doesn't work out, I now know, because I went on that interview, and it sounds great, I know exactly what I want. So now I know what to really look for. I hope that one works, but boy, I really know what I want now. You got it?
Okay. Yes. So that makes a lot of sense. I actually, right before this interview, was offered another job almost identical to it, and they sent over the contract for me to sign. And when I read the contract, I almost got sick. My gut said, do not sign this contract. It was very different from how the interview went. And I walked away from a pretty good job because of the contract. And so I kind of was starting to panic that, oh my gosh, what did I walk away from? And then...
Did it ever occur to you that contracts are all negotiable?
Oh,
Ah.
I didn't negotiate at all.
A little thing, am I really about to say this to you? I am. One of the things I learned a long time ago when my husband and I were buying our first house together. Now, we were buying a house, and there we are sitting at the table, and there's this 50-page contract sitting in front of us. And my husband proceeds to read it word by word, all 50 pages. And the other people at the table are like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's doing this. But on the way through, he says, well, we're crossing that out. No, we won't do this. Well, we want this. Yeah, okay, we're going to add this in because they didn't put that. He sat there right in front of him and he changed the contract.
Wow.
And they let him because they wanted to make the sale. And
okay.
When I realized that contracts are negotiable. And the time they're negotiable is when you're going into the deal. After you're in, too late. So if you're reading that contract and you don't like the fact that the contract says that you're not able to perform this particular function anyplace else within 100 miles, you're going to look at that person and you say, I think that particular thing is illegal. We're going to have to investigate that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to cross it out and you and I will both initial it, okay?
Okay.
Realize that if they want to hire you, that's when you can order up what you want.
Okay.
Okay? Now that makes sense why it came through that way. You're so sensitive and worried about this job because of what happened with the other job. But
yes,
but these jobs, they're teaching you. It's teaching you what you really want, So now you've got a really good beat on it, okay?
Okay. Okay, great. I hope I get it. It's a dream job. I love the everything about it.
Now that you let go of the worry and the fear and the uh-ohs, yes. This card is the Nine of Cups. It's the wish card. It's the getting your wish card, my friend.
Yay! I love that card.
Me too.
Thank you.
And folks, it's the witching hour. Our time is up. And I know I've got so many other hands up, so I want to remind you that if you have a burning question that you wanted to ask and you have been on the call, if you're just hearing this on a recording, you can't do this, not allowed. But if you're actually on the call and you still have a question we haven't touched either directly or indirectly, because I know I hit a lot of your questions just in the conversation, or my guides do, they know you're here. But feel free to email that question to either lisasainc@aol.com or to the email you see right here on GoToMeeting. And one of us will get back to you sometime during the month with a short little answer to that one question. I want to remind you our next Psychic Hour is February 5th. If you're interested in studying Kabbalah Path working with me, it is insanely inexpensive for what you're getting. It starts Wednesday. Don't miss it. And my last live psychic development class, Tampa. And that starts right at the end of the month. So I'm hoping I'm going to see some of you there. Take my love with you. Until next time, this is Sandy Anastasi, and this is my Psychic Hour. Good night.